Good day, everyone. Here is another journey with C programming language. And so far, we've covered a lot. We have covered how to declare our variable and how to initialize it. Then we've also discussed about data types. We've talked about the size of data type. We've looked at that. Many things we have covered. And this morning, our topic for today is variables if else why. Variables if else why is our topic for today. And in as much as we are all familiar with what a variable is, but just for quick recap, that to show you this material as declaring variables of types. That is, we can declare a variable of data type char and data type int and data type unsigned int. So, and the syntax of declaring our variables are this, which must have what the data type, the variable name, and the terminator, which is what the semicolon. So, having done that, then how to pass, that is how to initialize our variable. We initialize our variable by passing this value to this variable name, whose data type is is char. Now, because this one is a char, which means character, then we need to quote whatever alphabet we are passing here, whatever value we are passing, we need to quote it. We need to quote it, whatever value, with single quotation. So let me recap these aspects because my screen was not being shared. So declaring variables of types, that is the data type. So which this char is a data type known as character. This int is a data type known as integer. While this is unsigned int. Unsigned int means it is positive integers. So, and the syntax of declaring our variable are these are the syntax. We have our data type, then we have our variable name, and we have our terminator, which is semicolon terminator. Now, so this is also for int, which is for integer, and the variable name with the terminator. We have for unsigned, the unsigned int, and the variable name with terminator. So now, how do we initialize it? When it comes to char, which is known as character, we quote it with a single quotation. Whatever value we are assigning, this one is called the assignment operator, that we are assigning to this variable. Then we have to quote it by using single quotes. Then we terminate it. And when it comes to integer, we don't need to quote it, because integer we print what is called a figure or digits. So we don't quote that. And unsigned as well, we don't quote it. So now, having known that, we've also looked at passing multiple variables. We can pass multiple variables on a single line, that is horizontally. We have the char, we have variable name 1 and variable name 2. We can do that. Then we terminate it. It's also allowed. We can also do that for integer, and for every other data types, we can do that. Now, in our last class as well, we look at how to print the data type by using format specifier C to print character, format specifier D or I to print int, while to print unsigned int we use U. We use U here to print unsigned int. So let us stop here and let's move to, that is the summary of variable. So what is important this morning now is the if and else. If and else. So which we'll be starting from there. And before we move to if and else statements, there is something that needs to be clear to us, which we need to understand, which is called what? The arithmetic operator. We call it arithmetic operator. There should be an heading here, which I'm trying to. So this is arithmetic operator. We need to understand this. Firstly, we are all familiar with this, what we call the arithmetic operator in our various schools. So we are all familiar with it. So the arithmetic operator are these. These are the symbol for arithmetic operator. This is what? Additional operator, subtraction operator, multiplication operator, division operator, modulo operator, increment operator, and decrement operator. And the work of this arithmetic operator is to add two operands. And what are the operands? This is what? Operand A and operand B. So that is, it add variable. We can call this variable A and variable B. So, and this sign is called what? Arithmetic operator. And what type of arithmetic operator is this? It's called the what? The additional operator. So which will give us what? 40 if we should assign values to this A and B. If you assign values to it. So let me do that. Okay, we are going to do that practically later. So let's assume the value we pass to this A is 10, and the value we pass for B is what? Is 30. So that will be what? 10 plus 30 will give us what? 40. Why this subtraction is to subtract second operand from the first. This is the second operand. Why this is what? This one is first operand. So we subtract the second operand from first operand, which will give us what? Minus 30 based on the value. Probably this is 10 and this is 40. So 10 minus 40 will give us what? Minus 30. Then the multiplication arithmetic operators, it multiplies both operand. That is, it multiplies your A and B. Let's assume this is 20, then times 20, which will give us what? 400. We give us 400. Then we move to the division. Then we move to the division operator. This is a division sign operator. So it divides numerator by denominator. If you are talking of numerator, we are talking of the upper values, and denominator is the what? Is the down value. So let's assume 40 divided by 20, which will give us this 2. Then this is what? Modulus. We are talking of modulus operators. This we write, that is, it takes the remainder. It takes the remainder of an integer, that is, of after an integer division. Now this is 40 divided by 20. We know 40 divided by 20 will give us 2. But when it comes to division, we write that 2 down. The number of times it can go, we write it down, which is 2. But here, we don't write the number of times it can go. We only write the remainder. And we know 40 divided by 20, which is 2. And remainder what? Nothing. And when it's remainder nothing, it means what? Is 0. That means we have what? Remainder is 0. Let's assume it is 17 Our first operand here is 17, then modulo 5. Modulo 5, that will give us what? 3 remainder 2. 3 remainder 2. So the remainder 2 is what we are going to put here. We'll put 2 here. So which serve as the remainder. Well, this one is called what? Increment operator. So it's to increase the integer value by 1. That is by default. By default, it will increase by 1. Let's assume the value of a here is 10. And I now ask to increment it. That means it's going to add 1 with what? To 10, which will give us 11. If I ask what? To decrement, that means it's going to reduce the value by 1. So that will be what? 10 minus 1, which will give us what? 9. Which will give us 9. So having done that, let's look at it practically now. Practically, and the use of arithmetic operator. I'm creating a directory for this particular topic. So I'm going to cd into it. So now I want to make a file for it via into arithmetic. Let me shorten the arithmetic operator and .c. Now we declare our header file. We declare our entering points. We are not passing argument, so we make it void. Then we need to, all right, let me pass. I can decide to pass argument, but don't let me go there for now. So now int a, comma b, comma and c, you terminate it there. So what does this simply means? Or let me try to separate it. Let me separate it. Equals, let me pass 30 here. And to terminate it, while this will be int b equals, let me pass 40 and terminate it, and c int c. So with this int c, I'm not passing any values to it. I'm not passing values to it now, for now. Now I have assigned 30 to this variable a, whose data type is an int. Pass 40 to variable variable b, whose data type is what? Is an int. What we want to do here is, actually we are going to test many things. I'm going to test many things. Let me just make it using arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators for two variables. For two variables. So now, having passed the value of 30 to this A and 40 to this A, therefore we want to quickly do something. We want to what? Add sum of two operand. Sum of two operand. And we know our operand are what? Are this A and B. And we've already what? Initialized it with this value. So for us to get that, we need to do what? C. That is this C now. We now what? We serve as the what? The sum or the total. That is the total. And we want to assign this value, which equals to what? A plus B. We terminate it. And having done that, we use our printf to print the sum. We've looked at this yesterday. Now we can print tests with what? With values. So now I can say what? The sum. This is a test now. The sum of A plus B. Let's do it this way. I can as well, if I want to take the value of this A and the value of B, I can take it from here. But don't let me go that for now. Let me just use the sum of C. Will give us then the percentage D with new line, then comma. The variable is coming from this C. So with this now, I'm going to terminate it. Then I'm having my return statement. Because of this is not void, I have not make it void. And we know normally is to return an integer for us, because we are expecting a value to be what? Printed out here. So with this now, let us compile our code by using GCC, the file name, then we want to output it to this file. So now let's see what the sum will be. Alright, so the sum of C is 70. It's 70. Normally, we know if we add 30 plus 40 together, it will give us what? 70. So this is how to use what? The arithmetic operator. We use it to add two operands together. So this is an operand. This is also an operand. Why this one is what? The arithmetic operator. So the value of A and B has been assigned to this C. That's why we could use what the C here. If I want to still take the value of A and B, I can as well take it from here by saying the sum of percentage D plus percentage dish equals to, that means it's going to give me percentage 30, that is going to give me sum of 30 and 40 will be equals to 70. And in that case, I need to come here and put my A where it's coming from, the value, and this. So let's quickly look at that and see what it's going to give us. So we compile again. All right, can we see that the sum of 30 and 40, which equals to what? 70. So we can't do that. And at the same time, if I don't want it to print the sum of 30, I can use what? To print the, okay, no, in this case now, it can't print the variable name. It can't print the variable name. I can, let me see if I want to make it to print the variable name, sum of A and B. Sum of, okay, I just need to specify. I need to specify that sum of what? The A, that is sum of variable A, and sum of what? Variable B, which is going to give us this. And so, let's see. So we have 30 instead of 70. So let's go and check our code. What's wrong inside our code? All right. Okay. The fault is coming from here. So you could only pick what? A. Because I've only what? Specifying one format specifier, which it could only pick this A. It could only pick this A. So which is 30. Then, in fact, that also opened my eyes to something else. So let's quickly give it a try. Plus percentage dish, then equals percentage dish. All right, so we could have that the value of A, which you know is 30, the value of B, which is known is 40. So the addition of A and B, that is 40, 30 and 40, which will give us 70. Which will give us 70. Now, we've known how to use the arithmetic operator. Now, let us move towards the subtraction. Subtraction. In that case, we still call our C. We initialize it A minus B. A minus B. We terminate it. Then we introduce another word, printf. Printf. Then the subtraction of, let me make it this way, so I just take value, percentage D minus percentage D which will give us what? The percentage dish, known as our C. So, and the values are coming from A, B, and C. So quickly, let's see that. Alright, so we're having what? Minus 10. That is the subtraction of 30 minus 40, which we all know that is going to give us what? Minus 10. So we call our CL again and initialize it with what? With value of A and B. So which is going to give us what? The subtraction of this C. And that's how we got that. Now we move to the next one. After our arithmetic operator, we move to our our division, our subtraction operator. Then the next thing is our what? Our multiplication operator. We want to multiply and see the results. We also call our printf function to print out the result for us. Then we say the multiplication, let me just make it that way, multiplication of, I've shortened the spelling of the multiplication of percentage dish times percentage dish is equals to percentage dish. I put my new line, then comma. Where is it coming from? From A, B, and C is where we wanted to get the value from. We want the value that we'll be storing here to be gotten from this A and B, which we have called here, and we have initialized it to be 30 and 40. And whatever the multiplication we have here will be stored here, and this will be passed to this C. That's where this is coming from, where we wanted to take our value from. So we compile. Alright, the multiplication of what? 30 by 40 gave us what? 1200. 1200. So that is how to do that. We move to the next one of the next operator, which is division operator. That is A divided by B. That is operand A divided by operand B. So which printf the division of A and B equals the percentage dish. Put your new line. Then where is it, the value, where are they coming from? From A, from B, and from C. So with this, let's quickly run our code. Let's compile it and let's call it. Okay, this should give us, can pass in 30 and 40, the value main. Let's see what the result will be, because I've passed 30 and 40, which likely is going to give us a 0. Yes, because we know that 40 cannot go in 30. in as much as what 30 cannot go in, 40 cannot go in 30, the result is what? Is 0. Is 0. So, but if we want it to go, so let me try to, I want to modify the value of this here. I want to modify it. So let me quickly pass let me change the value here by saying A is equals to 40 and B is equals to 30. So let's see what it's going to give us. Now we have 1. We have 1. That is 40 divided by 30 is 1 times. We know it has remainder 10, but it's going to ignore the remainder 10. Because what this does is that what? It only prints what the number of times 30 will go into it. And this is very important. Please get familiar with this now. Because in the organization we are working with, there is an aspect that we need to implement this thing. That we need to implement it. So that it's going to give us what? The 1. And the other one as well, where it's going to give us the remainder, which we are going to use modulo. Actually, you know, if you use 30 divided by 40, the answer is still 0, which is correct. But I just try to modify the figure so that you can relate with this 1. I know everybody will be familiar with this, but we can get confused when it comes to 30 divided by 40. So, and which we know it is 0 actually. So, take note of the two. At least I've demonstrated 2 examples now. 2 examples on how it's going to be. All right. So now let us see the difference between division and modulo, which this one will give us an insight. An insight. So we still pass the value of C, A, then modulo B. Modulo B. I wish it picked this figure, those value. So let's just continue and sorry. So you terminate it, then print F. You terminate it there. Then your this is a string quotation. So the modulo of A and B is equals to modulo D. So where are we getting our value from? We are getting it from A and B and C. So with this now, it's going to pick the value from here because this is the new value. So let's see, it's the new value that we have tried to modify it to. So let's say that if I'm correct, All right. So now, there's an error here. Let's quickly fix this. We are trying to print the modulus of what A and B. So with this character that I've used here, you know this is a reserved character, and I love how it appeared this way. It is a reserved character or reserved keywords in C language, so we don't use it that way. We don't use it. That is why I was unable to pick the other the value for B. So in such a case, what are we going to do so that I can negate or to negate this? So what can we do? So I'm testing something. Let me see if it's going to pick it this way. That's what it's going to give us. All right. All right, it can't still pick it. So let's go and remove it, as not to waste our time. Now, so let's put and the modulo of D and this, that is A and D. Good. So can you see that the modulo of 40 and 30 is is 10. That is, if you should divide 40 divided by 30, the remainder will be 10. And if you should divide 40, that is, if you divide 40 by 30 using modulus, what you are asking is the remainder. While if you are using 40 divided by 30, what you are asking using this symbol is the number of O. That is the number of time that 30 will go in 40. Will go in 40. The and as well is also a reserved character. It's a reserved word in C, so we can't use it. We can't use it. So this is remainder 10. When you are talking of modulus, what you want to get is the remainder. You want to write the remainder. When you are using division, you want to write the number of O. That is the number of times that is it dividing now or divisor. I've forgotten this thing. I know one is dividing and one is divisor. That is number of time is going to go. This first operand, second operand. The number of times this second operand will go in first operand is what you are going to write, while the remainder in which the second operand will go in first operand. So you write it down. Now, having done that, let's continue and move to the next arithmetic operator, and which is what? Increment operator. So that will be C plus plus C plus plus. Okay, don't let me use C plus plus, let me use A plus plus. So the increment of A, we all know that the value of A is 30. So if it's going to increase 30, by default, increment will always increase by one value. So that means you should be expecting 31 as our increment here. So let's see what the result will give us. All right, so we are having, I did not put my new line. Let me put my new line. But the result we got is 41. So he picked it from here. He picked the value from here. So he did not pick it from the up. But thank God we are able to achieve this. Because I want you to know the usefulness of what? Increment operator. So that is the value. This 40 will increase to what? To 41. And let me recompile it so it will print on a new line. And call our executable file. It's still printing on this. Probably I did not put new line. Let me go and check. Alright. I do not have my new line here. So now we have it. So the increment, which is what? 41. So it has increased the value of the 40, of this 40 by 1. This 40 here has what? Decrement, increase it by 1. So when it also comes to decrements, we have what? A minus minus decrements. So we want to decrement print F the decrements of A. All right, it had decreased the 40 to what? The 41 to 40. Don't let me pick it from there. Let me quickly modify some figures there. So let me comment this out. I want to comment this out. All right, can we see that it has decremented the value of this a, which is our 40 that we assigned to it, was to 39. So this value of a here, it has what? Decremented by 1. So let me try to make it as decrement of, that is a minus 5. Let me decrement it by 5 to tell us that what? It can increment by the number of value you specify, or it can decrement by the number of value you specify, but by default it will either what? Increment or decrement by 1. That is the default. So can we see that we have what? Our 35. So which it has decrement based on what we specify, based on the value we specify. So the breaking down of this, that's what it means. If I don't want it, I can do what? Increment. This will be by default. But if I want to specify a value, so I need to specify it this way, minus 5. I need to specify it this way. It could be minus 3, you could decrement by 3, you could decrement by 4, you could decrement by 7. So depending on you. Now so far we have take a look at arithmetic operator. We have looked at arithmetic operator, and we have how many of them in number. So let's count. We have the additional operator, the subtraction operator, the division operator, the multiplication operator, the increment operator, and the decrement operator, and modulo. So let's count. This is 1, addition, subtraction 2, multiplication 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. The increment operator. Let me count from here with this one, this increment operator. So let me uncomment it out. So we have 7 of them. Now, having understood what an arithmetic operator is, so the next thing for us to know, let me see what the material is saying. All right, so having done all that, the next thing is if statements. Let's talk about if statements in C. Now the essence of if statements is for us to have diversity. We have tastes of food or different type of food, that is to add flavor to our food to look delicious. Without the help of if statements, our code will only be running in one particular dimension. It will only run in one particular dimension, that is one-way traffic, and which it will not help us because in life there are choices to decision, there are choices to make. We have to make different type of choices. You will see some people their choice is to wear trouser. Some people their choice is to wear skirts. Some people their choice is to make their hair very long, while some people is to make their hair to cut it short. Those are choice. Those are varieties. Same thing, our siege program as well give room for this, because we are relating with with physical problem. When it comes to choice, okay, you don't want this also thing to happen in your code. How do you do that? Okay, I want this also thing to happen in my code. How do I do that? Is the essence of the if statements. Essence of the if statements, which we are going to look at it. How do we make use of our if statements? So let me see the material and so there is no way that I'll be talking of our if statements that will not talk about relational operator. There is no way we'll not talk about relational operator. So before I move to if statements, let me say one thing about if statements. Now, the ability to control the flow of your program, letting it make decision on what code to execute, is valuable to the programmer. So I have explained this practically now. I have explained it related to us with choice, so we don't need that again. So the if statement allows you to control if a program enters a section of code or not based on whether a given condition is true or false. That is, allow you to enter one particular section of code or not based on a given condition, if the given condition is true or is false. That is, this if statement will allow you to print one aspect of your code or may not allow you to print one aspect of your code, depending on the condition you are passing across. If the condition is true, it's going to print it, and if the condition is false, it will not print it. It will not print it. So that's what that angle is saying. So for example, by using an if statement to check a user enter password, your program can decide whether a user is allowed to the program. Yes. For instance now, I know many of you must have tried it. Probably to type a particular password in your login account. Even on your phone, you want to type particular code, and the code you are typing, if you type it wrongly, it's going to tell maybe invalid code or connection invalid or something like that. You will have such experience. That thing has been programmed that if whatever figure you are typing either is greater than, if whatever figure you are typing is not equal to, let me use MTN in Nigeria, *556 hash. So if the user input is not equal to *556 hash, return this. That is what is going to give us that maybe whatever code we are typing is wrong. But if the *556 hash, the user input is *556 hash, then it should take us to the next level. So that thing is if conditional statement they have used there to code that aspect, because it is choice. Some people might make a wrong choice by typing a wrong code. Some people will make the right choice by typing the exact code that will take them to the next level. So that is likewise your password. If the user password is not maybe *556 hash, don't do any work or don't print or print this error. But if the user password is *556#, then do this. So that is the work of the if conditional statement, and there is no way we can be talking of conditional if conditional statement that we won't be talking of what relational operator. So quickly, let me see the material and see vital point again to discuss. All right. Before discussing the actual structure of the if statement, let us examine the meaning of true and false in computer terminology. A true statement is one that evaluates to a non-zero. Please pay attention to this. A true statement is one that evaluates to what? Non-zero number. It evaluates to non-zero number is a true statement. That is, whenever you're evaluating your code and it's evaluated to what? To non-zero, that is, it is not zero. It does not give you zero, then it is true. When it is 1, it is true. When it is 0, it is false. That is, 0 means what? 1 means what? Non-zero. Non-zero number, that is 1. And that is what they are trying to say here. That when it evaluates to what? A non-zero number, that is 1, which is true. But when it evaluates to what? To 0 number, that is false. Look at it. This 0 is equals to 2. Now I want to ask the house and type your answer for me. Type it in the code. Is 0 equals to 2? Is 0 equals to 2? Please type your answer if yes or no. Yes, 0 is equals to 2. No, 0 is not equals to 2. So quickly type your answers before counting to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is 0 equals to 2? If yes, type yes. If 0 is not equals to 2, type no. All right, I'm only seeing one result. Thank you very much. Let's continue. Now, 0 is not equals to 2. It is not equal. 0. We are told that what? 0 is equals to 2 here. So this statement is false. This statement is false. It is not true. Therefore, since it is false, it will evaluate to 0. False means 0. And check this. If 2 is equals to 2, it will evaluate to 1. 1 means true, while 0 means false. Please take note of this statement. It's very, very important. That statement is very, very important. I repeat that statement again. Is 0 equals to 2? Is that statement correct? Is 0 equals to 2? No, it is not equals to 2. Therefore, it is a false statement. And because it is false, that is 0. Is 2 equals to 2? Yes, 2 is equals to 2. The statement is true. That means that is 1. That is 1. So, having understood that, let's continue. So like I said, we cannot be talking of if conditional statements without talking of what? Relational operator. And what our relational operator? This is 1. We have what? Our greater than. This is relational operator. Number 2, we have our less than. So number 3, we have greater than or equals to. Number 4, we have less than or equals to. Number 5, we have equals to. While number 6, we have not equals to. So number 1, we have greater than, that is 5. Is 5 greater than 4? Which we all know that 5 is greater than 4. So the answer is true. It's going to return true for us. Now less, this is what lesser than sign. Less than, is 4 less than 5? The answer is true. 4 is less than 5. Now greater than or equals to. Greater than or equals to, is 4 greater than 4? We know that 4 is not greater than 4, but 4 is equals to 4. So which is true? One of these conditions is still true. Therefore, it's going to return true. Less than or equals to. Is 3 less than 4? No. But is 3 less than 4? Yes, it's true. But 3 is not equals to 4. In as much as what one condition is true here, then it's going to return true for us. Then the next one, equals to, this is your equals to relational operator. Is 5 equals to 5? The answer is true. So now this one means what? Not equals to. Not equals to. Is 5 not equals to 4? Yes, the answer is true. Not equals to 4. Alright. So let's quickly demonstrate that using our if statement with relational so when it evaluates to 1, it shows it is true, but when it evaluates to 0, it shows it is false. So looking at this sign equals to is called relational operator. This is your relational operator. And like I've said, you cannot be talking of if conditional statement without you talking about relational operators. And examples of our relational operators are these 6. Number 1, we have greater than signed. We have greater than signed. So this is your symbol for greater than. So, and we now test, is 5 greater than 4? Which we all know that 5 is greater than 4. Therefore, the condition is true. So it's going to return true for us. We test for less than sign. So is 4 less than 5? Yes, 4 is less than 5. So the condition is still true. We also test for this. That is greater than or equals to. So is 4 greater than or equals to 4? We know that what 4 is not greater than 4, but is equals to 4. So in as much as what this one condition is still true, we know that 4 is equals to 4. So it's still going to be what? To be true. So why less than or equals to? Is 3 less than 4? The condition is true. But we know that 3 is not equals to 4. But in as much as what? This 3 can satisfy any of these conditions. That is why we put or sign. It could be less than or it could be equals to. In as much as it is what? Either it is less than or equals to it, then the condition is still true. Then this is your equal sign. Your equal sign operator. Your equal sign relational operator. So is 5 equals to 5? Yes, 5 is equals to 5. So it's returned 2. Now this one means what? Not equals to 5 is not equals to 4, which we know it is true. So 5 is not equals to 4. So the conditions are true. So now let's now bring it practically now. So let's quickly look at the practical example of what we are saying. So let me okay so let me create another variable known as, we've talked about arithmetic operator. So this will be if and relational operator. If relational, let me shorten this relational operator. Now we have this. Let's declare our include. Now when it's okay, so let's quickly declare our variable. Let me use I and initialize it to be 10. Then variable j, initialize it to be what? 5. Now we are all familiar with this. Which is what? Initialization of variables. Now the next thing is our if conditional statement. So we want to test if I is equals to 5, that is j now. So I'm using the variable now. If j is equals to 5, then it should return something for us. We can ask it to print. Let's use print statement, or so I'm going to use the 2, but this time will not permit us. That means in the next class, so I'm going to use the return. Let me quickly use print for us. So we want it to print something. Print the value of I is greater than sorry, is, yeah, let me use is greater than, is greater than j, is greater than j. So that is the value, if I equals to what, j, is going to print this, the value of I is greater than j. Now okay, let me take it gradually. Let me make it equal first. The value of I is equal, to value of j, So let's see. Then let me put my return statement. Let's see if it's going to give to us. Then we compile. We output it to this file. Now let's call the executable file. Now we have it, because the value of I is equal to value of j. And looking at this condition, true, 5 is equals to 5. If you have 5 here, it's the same thing as this. So 5 is equals to 5. So the condition is true. The condition is true. Now, let us now negate this condition and let us see. Let's use what, greater than. Let's use it this way. Is this j, this I, which is 5, is it greater than j? If it's greater than j, or okay, this would still be equals to 0. Simply let me remove the equal sign. So is 5 greater than 5 here? Let us see. If it is greater than 5, it's going to print this for us. And if it is not, it will not print anything out. Let us see. With this condition, the way I've set it, it shouldn't print anything out. Can we say we have what? No results, because that condition is not true. It's not true. The condition I've set here is not true. My I is not greater than 5. Also, if I should use it this way, that what? I is less than, if I use lesser than sign, is this I less than this j, this 5? No, this condition is not true as well. It's not true. So, but this is the true condition. This is the only true condition. Also, if I use this word, not equals to, I is not equals to 5, is a false condition, so there won't be any result that will be printed out. But now, in that case, since this is not greater than 5 and is not bringing this out, then we need to introduce what we call what? Else. Is the essence of the what? The else statement. That okay, if the first condition is not true, this first condition is not true, then this second one should be true. Else print the value of I is not greater than value of j, comma, but is equal to the value of j. That is, if this value of I is not greater than the value of j but is equal to the value of j. So if this first condition is not true, it will not print this. It will now come here and print this statement, because we know that what this is not equals to, this is not greater than, and if it is not greater than, then definitely it will be what equals to. So let's see. Now, can we see that what it print the second line of statement? The value of I is not greater than value of j, but is equal to the value of j. So, because this condition is not true, therefore it's going to skip away from this and come to this second condition and do the job. So, we are rounding up yet for today, and in our next class we shall continue with this if else statement in our next class. So thank you for today. See you tomorrow.